that's straight and bright. By the light of the Word.
Today on Light of the Word with Pastor Ray.
For as he thinks in his heart, so he is. As a man thinks, there he is. God says, as you think, that's who you'll become. And this applies across the board. We're applying it right now to marriage. But if you sit there and your thought process is continually on that thing, whether it's alcohol or drugs or money or power or greed, as a man thinks, therefore he is, and that is who you will continually come back to.
Open your heart to us, Lord, so we can know your word. We come before you, Jesus. Speak to our hearts as we discover your love for us. How wide, how deep, how far. Pour into us so we can learn to follow. One surrender at a time. You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the Word.
While the enemy of our souls definitely seeks to destroy and devour, we oftentimes give him far too much credit whenever sin takes place in our lives. More often than not, our sin is being formed and nurtured in our mind long before we end up committing the sin itself. In today's message, Pastor Ray will teach you the importance of setting your mind on things that are holy, perfect, and pure. In his study, you'll learn how constantly thinking about various sins inevitably leads to a life that's lived in the flesh rather than the spirit. Well, let's join Pastor Ray in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 11 for today's edition of Light of the Word.
If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, Satan's equation is right place, right time. I've waited for these pieces to line, and now it's ready. And everything that I've been planning, I'm ready to launch and let it out. 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Resist him steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. He's got a plan. The enemy has a plan against you, male and female. Do not be deceived. He has a plan, and he will wait, and he will wait, and he will wait, and let us not be ignorant of his devices. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. And John 8:44, we know he's the father of all lies. Where am I going with that? Those last two statements. He loves to take what is darkness and transform it into light. And he loves to take a lie and then try to turn it into something beautiful. He loves to take something and make it what it is not. And that's what he does here as he attacks the mind of the believer and the world for that matter. He wants to keep the whole world down. Our mind is incredibly designed by God. Psalm 139, he formed us in our mother's womb. He has designed this human brain. There's not a supercomputer in the world. And the United States of America, Russia, China, Israel, name it, they are spending trillions of dollars to continually increase the computing power and speed. And even the greatest supercomputer in the world can't compare even closely to the power of this mind, this brain. These are the greatest supercomputers in the world right here as God designed, and trillions of dollars will never come and compete and be able to make a supercomputer as great as this one that's right on top of your shoulders right now. And the way God designed us, husband and wives, singles, movies. We sit down and what do you see in the movies? You see this continual streaming like it's live, right? Like it's literally, the motions are alive, they're moving. But you know how a movie is actually made then when it first came out and now still the same? They're still images. An image, another image, another image after that, and they piece these images together. They literally, at one time, taped them together. And so it's image after image after image. And then as you watch there for 90 minutes, you think this has been one continually moving moment, but it's not so. It's image after image after image spliced together. And here is the most powerful part of your life and your marriage. And singles, you need to hear this and understand this part is God wants to build image after image after image of that person that God has given you till death do you part. Because as he puts the image of your spouse into your mind and another image of your spouse into your mind, they keep building off of one another, and they build this beautiful life movie together of a husband and wife. And it actually, he has that so that you play it back and play it over, and that stirs you back to your gift, the spouse that God has given you. Now, if you're single or you're married, what the enemy wants to do is he wants to get in there and he wants to interrupt that perfect flow. He wants to insert images from the world, and he wants to break down the image of the one that God has for you and insert it with images that distort and break that design that he's put in. And we don't even realize it anymore. I mean, if you would take today's television and play it in 1950, the United States of America would blow up. When Elvis Presley went on television and gyrated his hips on the Ed Sullivan Show in the 50s, there was like a call for arms to shut down the television, that America is broken. Now you look and that's nothing to what is out there now. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. Every thought. And there's the word that God gives us today is every thought. And there's some things we just go, well, it's no big deal. Because the world has made it no big deal. But for God, this is a big deal. You're not supposed to see that. That's not meant for you. That's not a still image that's meant to be spliced together in the movie of your life, of your marriage. Because Proverbs 23:7, for as he thinks in his heart, so he is. As a man thinks, there he is. God says, as you think, that's who you'll become. And this applies across the board. We're applying it right now to marriage. But if you sit there and your thought process is continually on that thing, whether it's alcohol or drugs or money or power or greed, as a man thinks, therefore he is. And that is who you will continually come back to. Genesis 2:24, because this is how God designed it. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. There's no shame in it because there was no other thoughts to break through of that. Verse 3. So David sent and inquired about the woman, and someone says, is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam and the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Hey, this is not as random as you might think it is. There is a thread here that reveals a lot. Chasing the scriptures through 2 Samuel 23:8. These are the name of the mighty men whom David had. He only has 37 mighty men, all right? Only 37. Verse 34 gives a string, and if you see the back end, this is listing the mighty men, Elam, the son of Ahithophel, the Gileonite. Bathsheba's father is one of 37. Bathsheba's father is one of the 37. 2 Samuel 15, since that name Ahithophel came up, then Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gileonite, David's counselor. Eliam's father, which would be Bathsheba's grandfather, is David's chief counselor. And look at verse 39. And Uriah the Hittite, 37 in all. Uriah is one of the 37. You ask any soldier in here, when they go to war, who do they hang out with after? We even see it through the strings of the scriptures. Feast, new moon, celebration. David knows who his mighty men are. Ask any soldier in here, they know everyone in their squad because they stand together. These are the men. These are my brothers. We fight to the death. I would die for them. David knows Elam. David knows Ahithophel. They would have feasts and celebrations after great victories. Men would bring wives. Elam would bring his wife. Uriah would bring his wife. Bathsheba's not some unknown, who might this be? Because even the answer comes, hey, is this not Bathsheba, Uriah's wife? Like if he was one of the hundreds of thousands of David's foot soldiers, they're speaking like he knows who Uriah is. They would say, she's married to one of these guys. There is a statement like, David, this is Uriah's wife. And by the way, when you piece this together, you didn't just happen to buy a piece of land next to the king's palace. No, that was built out, the palace, and then the immediate counselors, mighty men, the people who supported the government. And then as it spreads further and further out, that's where more uncommon, if you would, the common men and women of the nation. But there is an immediate, you didn't just happen to have a house next to the palace. It's not as random as you might think. My point, how long, when did David first start thinking about Bathsheba? Everybody knows she's very beautiful. I do not believe that this was the first night that David laid eyes on Bathsheba. And hence I go back to where we started this. Satan loves to lay thoughts. I believe there was a thought that was laid in David's mind long ago, and he played it, and now Satan waited, and here's the moment. And I'm going to go on to dangerous ground here. I'm praying right now. Just say it, Ray. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. I don't think Bathsheba is as innocent as many times it comes out. She can't say no to the king. I think there's something just not right of a woman taking a bath where someone else can see her. That's just immodesty. Did she know the king? She knows who her neighbors are. But nowhere do we read an indictment against Bathsheba. God lays this out, and we'll have some weeks to come. You are the man, David. David, you are the man, and you are who I expected to uphold my holy moral law. Bathsheba, no indictment. David gets the full indictment. Verse 4, then David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her, for she was cleansed from her impurity, and she returned to her house. Genesis 2:24. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother, be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and the woman, and were not ashamed. Sex is God's design for the marriage bounds. He designed it so that the two become one, a unity and a beauty far beyond physical. God's way beyond just the two become one in that physical. He's binding and merging and making hearts that are so intertwined. You can't, the word and be joined, the Hebrew word is the bach. It means the glue. And when you glue something, if I glued these pages to this Bible together, you could not peel page from page without destroying this Bible. And this is what God's doing, still image after still image. He's gluing these pages of our marriages together, and they are meant to be bound and not to be broken. And what I'm saying here is, and the importance, because the evil one, the way he twists these things, sex is not the problem. Lust is. Sex is not the problem, lust is. And that's where we need to be on guard, is the guard there in that battle against lust. Don't let Satan get in and destroy the beauty of the bounds of marriage. And that's by guarding your eyes and the thoughts, but also of, this is God's gift. I designed it for you. Enjoy it, take it, and let it bind the two of you together. David's going to commit adultery. As you know the story, David's going to murder. But here's where it began for David. Exodus 20, verse 13, you shall not murder, David will. You shall not commit adultery, David will. You shall not steal, David does. He steals another man's wife. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. David lies about this whole thing. But here's where it began for David. Verse 17, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Lust is coveting. Coveting is, it's not enough. God, what you've given me is not enough. And it's far beyond physical in this context that we're talking about today. It gets into the mind. It's not enough what you gave me. I like this image over here. I like these things over there. Lust is never satisfied. And this is Satan's plan against you, whatever it might be. We're talking here in the bounds of a physical relationship, but lust carries way over. Coveting carries way over into the boundary of, again, alcohol, substance abuse, money, greed, power. You name the lust of the flesh, the sins of the flesh, and it all comes to a coveting. I'm not happy with what God's given me. I want more. And you know what lust is? Through Satan's design, lust promises to serve and please. It presents something greater than what you have. But truly at the end, lust dominates and destroys. You ask anybody, ask yourself, and you will confirm it. It didn't serve and please. It dominated and destroyed. David will never be the king that he was before this moment. And we're going to read consequences, and I'm not going to try to say it all in one sermon, so I'll wait as we hit these chapters. But this will play out through David's life. He will never be the king. He'll never be the father. He'll never be the warrior. He'll never be the man that he was before this moment. And here's why, and lock and load this in, why God calls sin, sin. Some people think he's a killjoy, and the world is like that. He's made us these creatures of these pleasures and these type of things, but he puts it into a bound. And here's why. Two things: to protect and to provide. I want to protect you from, and you pick any sin in the Bible, and you'll see where it will dominate and destroy. Alcohol, drunkenness, better said, drunkenness. I want to protect you from wrapping your car around a telephone pole. I want to protect you from tens of thousands of legal fees in DUI. And I want to provide for you that you wake up in the morning without a hangover. I want to provide for you that you wake up in the morning sharp and be able to focus on and fulfill life before you. And I want to provide for you that you don't go, what did I do last night? Did I just do something that changes my life? Pick this one. Pick this one that we're talking about here. And it's so easy what God wants to protect us from. It'll destroy you. Destroy your marriage, destroy your children, destroy all the way down the line. And what he wants to provide, the beauty of the oneness as he created Genesis, as he says in 2, that the two become one. Moving through verse 4 and 5 again, then David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him and lay with her, and he lay with her, for she was cleansed from her impurity, and she returned to her house, and the woman conceived. So she sent and told David and said, I am with child. The cleansed from impurity is put in here for us, meaning that she was beyond her menstrual cycle, just had her menstrual cycle. This is not Uriah's son. The math will say, David, the math will say, Bathsheba, something happened while Uriah was in the battlefield. And I want you to see this. We talked about the power of the mind, but I want you to see how Satan works, because he loves to isolate. That's how he gets in and casts these thoughts to start with and try to get us in the wrong place at the wrong time. By this isolation. David should be at war. That means he should have been around his comrades. He should have been raising swords with the men who they would, as iron sharpens iron, so does a man sharpen the countenance of his friend. But David's not there. We're going to read in a few verses, the Ark of the Covenant, which represents the very presence of God, is in the battlefield. David's not dancing before the ark like he's done before. He's not sitting before the ark as we've read before. He's not in the presence of God. He's isolated. And we can see that when Nathan the prophet comes next chapter, it's almost a year later because the baby, the child, would have been born. He has isolated himself from men of God. And I can even say he wakes up, he's alone. He gets off of his bed, he's alone. Abigail's not there. His wives that he had, not there. He's even isolated himself from, if there was this, he had a wife. And let me just say this. I don't want to wait to the end. Maybe there's something here in this story, or it played itself across in other areas of your life, and you're like, it got me. It got me. Hey, listen, we're going to read, and I'm winding down here. It's grace. God's grace. I'm going to cover David.
You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the word.
We know your day is hectic and filled to the brim, so we're so happy you chose to spend time with us today on Light of the Word. We'd like to share another way you can hear Pastor Ray Bolus's messages and even take them with you on the go. Light of the Word has a mobile app for Apple, Android, and Windows devices, giving you access to the latest teachings as soon as they're made available, right at your fingertips. You'll also have Pastor Ray's teaching notes, be able to set up a personalized Bible reading plan, plus discover more about Calvary Chapel of Anne Arundel County, the church these messages originate from. You'll find a link to download this app under the About tab at our website, ccaac.org. We'd love to stay in touch with you, so don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter while you're there. Do you have a prayer request you'd like to share with us, or do you have any questions? If so, please take a moment to email us at mail@ccaac.org. That email address again is mail@ccaac.org. We'll get back to you as soon as possible and do our best to answer your questions. We love that we can lift our listeners up to the Lord in prayer, and we'd like to ask you if you do the same for us. Thanks for praying, and thanks for listening today to Light of the Word, illuminating the heart of God.